Europe is reportedly fast-tracking a contingency plan inside NATO, preparing for a scenario many leaders once dismissed, a complete American pullback from the alliance. Tensions between Washington and European capitals have grown recently, especially regarding the Iran war. And in an interview with the Fox News channel released earlier today, the US president said, and I'm quoting him here, "Why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO if they're not going to be with us?" Now, against this backdrop, Europe is reportedly building a fallback option for a potential American withdrawal from the alliance, described also as a European NATO. The plan reportedly involves Europe taking control of NATO's command structure by placing more European officers in top operational roles. It aims to plug potential gaps left by US by building its own military assets. The goal reportedly is not to replace NATO, but to keep it functional without Washington. Now, the biggest turning point for European-led NATO is reportedly coming from Berlin. Under Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Berlin is now reportedly backing French-led calls for greater European military independence, something that it had resisted in the past. This European-led shift reportedly began taking shape last year, and it has expedited in the recent months. Donald Trump's threats, ranging from abandoning NATO to seizing Greenland from Denmark, have reportedly accelerated this process. And Europe's refusal to support US action against Iran has only added urgency and anxiety over American support for NATO or the lack thereof. In the latest on this end, Trump has openly criticized the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni now. In an interview with an Italian newspaper, Trump allegedly accused Meloni of lacking courage and failing to support Washington's efforts against Iran. While Trump's latest comments against Meloni also stem from the Italian Prime Minister defending the Pope against the president's criticism, the US president's comments incidentally come just weeks after Italy reportedly blocked US bombers from operating out of its Sicilian base during the war against Iran. The pushback doesn't stop there. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer has, as all of us know, refused British participation as well in enforcing a US blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, while Spain has openly questioned the entire strategy after denying American access to its bases and airspace. But the challenge for a European-led NATO is enormous. Remember, NATO's entire architecture, from intelligence to logistics to the top command, is built around American leadership. The alliance is heavily dependent on the United States. Around 85,000 American troops remain stationed across Europe at the moment, while US defense giants supply nearly half of Europe's military hardware. Following America's recent push for Europe to take greater control of NATO, remember, European nations are now taking on more command positions, and they're leading major military exercises, especially along NATO's eastern flank near Russia. There's also renewed discussion around reintroducing military conscription in several countries, yet critical gaps remain. Europe lacks the advanced surveillance, satellite systems, and missile warning capabilities that the US provides. Nuclear deterrence is another weak spot. Following his meeting with Trump last week, remember, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte had acknowledged the shift, saying that the alliance will become more European-led. Listen in.
Allies recognize, and I recognize, we are in a period of profound change in the transatlantic alliance. Europe is assuming a greater and fairer share of the task of providing for its conventional defense. And from that, there will be no going back.
Now, Finland's President Alexander Stubb has also said in the past that the NATO transition is already underway, stating that the priority is to manage the transition carefully before any sudden American exit leaves Europe in a security vacuum. So as things stand, Europe appears to be no longer waiting for an American withdrawal from NATO. Rather, it is now preparing for a future where it may have to stand alone.